Let me get MF Cushion here, and see what your thoughts are on the topic.
Hey y'all, peace, power, reparations, and shout out to everybody in the room, and shout out to you as the host. I do want to tell you this, Marcus. Thank you for coming into the last Black American business space. I would love to have you back so you can definitely get some promo in. And we can definitely expound on especially what you do. But uh,
Sure.
since we're talking about healing and stuff like that, I think people don't understand genuinely what it means to heal. What it means to heal is it's not something that every time something goes on that you have to bring that specific thing back up. It's honestly having true release and calmness and a relaxedness about yourself, and to be honest with yourself and to say, you know what, hey, if I messed up, I messed up, and that's okay. I'm going to learn and I want to heal from, the BS that had occurred, whatever the situation may be. But healing is closure. And if people have closure, people tend have a tendency to be more willing and more helpful to people of the community. And as a Black American community, knowing what our ancestors have went through, knowing what we are still going through today, um, I don't know necessarily if I can say that I can heal from that because it's so present. Like I have an issue when I see certain things, and it makes me irate, especially when it comes from people of our lineage who just act a plum fool, and they know the shit that they doing is wrong, and it doesn't benefit the community. Um, Seeing, for instance, images of police brutality against Black Americans is extremely triggering for me, and I do not feel I can heal from that until I know that that's never going to be a thing for our people. You get what I'm saying? I don't want to see another Emmett Till or George Stinney Jr. I don't want to see another Tamor Rice or any of that going on. So I think if we actually had a real tangible solution, a real outreach for the grassroots and everybody's associated with it, we would be able to heal. But we need those resources. And if we don't have the resources, then how can we really heal? But I'm just going to land there. Thank you for letting me speak.
No, excellent points. And we should never see our own dying at the hands of police brutality or anything like that and feel nothing. We should never get to that point. And there was a quote, and I don't want to mess it up, but it was saying it's no victory to be well adjusted to a sick society. And it's not something that, like you mentioned, healing is not to look in the face of that and feel nothing. But we also cannot fall too far but below the line emotionally to the point where we are defeated and destroyed ourselves, because we all we got. And part of the shift when it comes to what you're mentioning is a major shift in focus on our progress. Because showing, and I was thinking about this earlier too, because I mentioned the sister, I forgot her name, who, the cops came in. She called for a domestic dispute. The cops came in and just started shooting and killed her. And they had the body cam footage. And I was thinking earlier just about the fact that we're the only group that they show the body cam footage of these murders. Because there are now, granted, the numbers may be different, of course, but there's other groups dying, right? But it's not even just body cam. When it comes, just any cam, like anytime we there's a murder, homicide, anything like that, by the hands of police or anybody else, the footage is put on display as almost the first order of business. And that's by design. And I don't want us to remain inundated there, and it to impact us, too much. And because there is progress to focus on as a group, there are things that we are accomplishing as a group, and there's things individually, progress individually, that we are all making and focusing on making. And there's also, you know the added motivation that comes from seeing certain things that may we have to deal with. I don't know, for me, it makes me go even harder when certain things happen, because um nobody's gonna come and pull us out of this. And I do believe we're gonna get everything we came for. I do believe that we are still here for a reason. We made it this far for a reason. Our ancestors survived to procreate down the line for us to be here for a reason. And I'll say several reasons. And I think we all have a part to play. And that's why I want us all to be, you know, focused on our agenda, but focusing on the self-care element as well. We have to give ourselves some grace, some attention, and take advantage of those of us who provide what we need at the time. Me being somebody in mental health, it's my honor to be speaking life or strategies, or helping to redirect our energy into really help us elevate emotionally and on several different levels. Like, you know and you all being in your individual, what you provide helps somebody else. So it's almost like um a situation where we all got what each other needs on some level. We all have what each other needs. And don't feel, from my creators and my people who put in work in the spaces and doing all of that stuff, don't be afraid, which is why I love seeing you all here. Don't be afraid to receive too. Don't be afraid to consume as well, and to to have your emotional state catered to, because that's what this is. I want us all to have mental and emotional health as we move forward, because there's a lot of things happening outside, and there's a lot of things happening internally with each of us that we're trying to get over, trying to step over, trying to push through. And I know there's a lot of distractions. I know there's a lot of other situations, and I know our people are constantly in the line of fire. But we're gonna win in the end. And as long as you keep pushing, but also don't normalize us being in constant pain, because that's not what we were created to live like. There's definitely other levels to exist in, 100%. So let me see. I know FBA got us up here. I know the real Miss Lisa. Let me get the real Miss Lisa up here. And my apologies if it's out of order, but go ahead.
I want to say thank you and good evening, family. Everybody in this room is family to me. All right. Some of these people know or not. I lost my mother 22 years ago. Bottom line, my stepfather died the 21st, and September of 22, I got some information and I found out that the wife and them, they filed a fake will. They robbed, they been stealing from my mother's estate since 2005. Bottom line is this, I'm fucked up. And I'm going to tell y'all why I probably been so touchy. When I went to Las Vegas to try to, to take care of this business. While I was in Las Vegas, I got the coroner's report and I got my stepfather proof of death. About a week before, I say a week before Christmas, I opened it up and I read it. And I always had suspicions that my stepfather had something to do with my mother's death. She was a court officer. She got injured. It was like her neck being turned around. And she was completely disabled. I was her caretaker from 1990 to 2002. I moved to Vegas also. Well, long story short, after she died, he kept everything. And he married my mother's best friend. And they started stealing from the house in 2005. I took everything. It was a rough time. I took everything. I was left out of will, everything. I took everything. Like, I fought and everything. But this is what's fucking with me. God make you forget things for a reason. He makes you forget certain things for a reason. And when I read the coroner's report, it reminded me that the last 3 weeks of her life, she was really suffering. She had a minor surgery. They gave her methadone. That's the only time he let me in the house. She thought it was spiders. It was just a real mess. Well, when I read in the coroner's report, I called the ambulance twice. He denied it, saying that she didn't want to go, but he took her back to the same doctor. And instead of, it was 7 milligrams, he was like, no, she needs to take more, and then went up to 10. In the coroner's report, it says that my mother had too much medication. She couldn't move. He had to give it to her at normal amount. So she wasn't taking her medication. May 18th of 2002, I called my mother and she said that she had chest pain. I sent the ambulance to there. The ambulance was denied. May 20th, 8 o'clock in the morning, I got the call. She ain't breathing. I found out that she died when I pulled over a police officer because I was flying down Las Vegas Boulevard and I asked for an escort. And how I found out she was dead was over the police radio. I get to the house. He curses me out over my mother's body. I mean, this man did too much. He buried her within 7 days, didn't want no autopsy, didn't give her, my mother don't even have a headstone. That June, he bought a new car. That July, this is when Jerry got in the picture. She was my mother's best friend and his ex-partner's ex-wife. In 2005, they just robbed him. They put him in a home. I don't know how long. He had dementia. And I don't understand why I feel for him. I would have got him out the home. That's the truth. I wouldn't have let him suffer because mommy loved him and that was her husband. But my other 6 siblings, they decided they was judge, jury, and executioner. So when he passed away, it was a revocable trust. And they robbed everything. They took everything. Wells Fargo. My mother had a bank account there. The revocable trust there. And I don't understand how 3 years later, how do you let one $72,000 loan, I forgot what the other one was. How do my mother be a living witness to that? It's bad enough they filed the fake will. They drained the house. They did all that, and they was robbing. I don't. I'm okay sometimes. Sometimes I'm not. I wish I never read the coroner's report. I cried. Christmas wasn't good for me. Christmas Eve. No, yeah, I'm really suffering because I always knew that he was doing something because she didn't want to be there. She felt she made a mistake and she wanted to go home. And he poisoned the cat. He was a CO for 30 years in the tombs. He's a cruel son of a bitch. I don't know how. Um, I wish I never read the coroner's report. I'm a strong person. You know, I got stuff going for me. Today, I went to the Fed's office. I went to the federal courthouse. I went to the federal building. I went to the IRS. I don't understand how nobody can help me. Now, this is the biggest problem. His wife died January 12th of 2023. She had a niece named Tiffany Lane. This bitch is laying up in my mother's house with my mother's things. She has taken the fake will and has filed for my mother's house and filed for the stocks that was left to me and my siblings. He left me 35 stocks. I knocked on the door. I went to Vegas between August 1st and the 5th, and on the 4th, I went to the door. That was the first time I seen my mother's house in over 20-something years. And not to be able to go into that house, I'm fucked up. I've been snapping. I've been cursing people out. I've been going through a lot, but that's what the core was going on. I don't know how to forget the coroner's report. She suffered. My mama died of medical neglect. My mama laid there in pain. He wouldn't let me in the house. He wouldn't let me in the house. She would be alive today. And then I told him, don't, she can't take that medication. I'll show y'all. He took it back to the doctor and they raised it, the method on it. My mother was 52 years old. I'll be 59. My mother was a beautiful woman. And for them to live off of her for 20 years, and then I just stole everything. My mother's house was worth over 500,000. I don't know who I'm more angry at. Wells Fargo, my stepfather for being a piece of shit. I already know I'm angry at Tiffany Lane because this the balls of this girl. I just don't know how to deal with this. I wish I never read it. I'm not sleeping good. Waking up weird hours. I don't know, man. That's it. And just to travel all the way to Vegas, and you can't even get a police report. They wouldn't even take it. I ain't got in touch with the homicide, the financial. It's like, bitch, you a nigga. We don't give a fuck about you or your mother house. You can really, really scam somebody in Las Vegas. You can take stolen paperwork and file it in a court, and they won't help you. And it's heartbreaking. All day I ran today. I begged the IRS. they said, "Oh, you don't have the executive. I got the will. I got the trust. I got everything. But only thing I don't have is the I am the executive. It shows you the fraudulent paperwork, the fraud mail. I'm the trustor's daughter. Why can't somebody help me?" Well, nobody did. So I just had another disappointing day. Thank y'all for letting me share that. My heart hurt. I feel like somebody that ripped out my heart. She suffered. She really suffered. My mama suffered. And she didn't have to. And my suspicions has been true why I shadowed her. Because I never trusted him. Then he takes his daughter and put it on top of my mother and gives her a headstone. I'm finished.
Well, first, I wanted to thank you for expressing these things to myself and to the family. And I hit you on the back channel too, so definitely respond to that when you get the chance to. But when it comes to a situation or the many layers of this, I want you to know that she wouldn't want you to suffer in this way. And it doesn't sound like she's the type that would want you to be in this state of mind if she could do anything to help it. And I think that um what I want you to do is, because there's a lot of things you're trying to take care of, and what you're doing so while in a traumatized state. Like, I mean, that type of information, like you said, it confirmed your suspicions. But man, and I'll tell you this, I lost my mom as well. And when it comes down to how long, it don't matter how many years. When it comes down to those emotions and those feelings, right? It don't matter how many years it is. And to know that the individuals, that there are individuals that are, still actively doing things to affect, her legacy and things like that. Trust me, number one, God gonna handle that. And number two, when it comes to you, we got you. And I think the main thing I want you to do is to focus on creating a consistent self-care routine for yourself, so that you are able to bring yourself back to present time. Because I know how overwhelming it can get when you're contacting this agency and they giving you the ass to kiss, or you trying to handle this situation, and then you go over here and they not helping, and then you get this door closed, and the whole time it's aggravating as is, but it's also triple aggravating when you're trying to make things right for your mom, and they're shutting the door and people are eating off of her for 2 decades long, and you're trying to correct things and make things right, because you can't bring her back, so you're trying to at least do what you can to settle this in honor of her. But I think that you don't want to lose yourself in this process, and you always want to remember the fact that she wouldn't want you to just to collapse over this. She would want you to definitely care for you in this process, because again, it's all gonna work out. Everything is working to your favor, and to correct this process. Everything is already in motion, whether it feels like it or not. And I think to help you get a sense of stability, and to be able to have the energy to even fight something like this, it's going to take you on a daily basis creating a block of time where you do not focus on handling anything, where you strictly focus on finding your way to the present time, and being able to immerse yourself in the positives and advantages of the present day. Because when it comes to a situation like this, if you get trapped in the past cycle with all of that you just told me, it's going to be a hard hole to climb out of, and it will constantly each thought will re-traumatize you, just like the last, and it'll be like a ricochet effect, because there's multiple players involved. There's what you tried to do to stop it, and what could have been, and now they're doing this, and siblings, and it's too much for you to handle, and there's too many uncontrollables at the moment. And so living in the present time will help you, when it comes to mindfulness meditation, walking, reading, whatever you choose to indulge in that particular time. Make sure that time frame is uninterrupted. Make sure you tell whoever you need to tell, hey, from 3 to 5, don't call me. If you need me for something, wait till after, or tell me before. um you know don't try to solve anything, don't try to fix anything or take any phone calls. This has to be time that's dedicated to you, because you have a lot of restoring to do. uh and just start there, and I'll check in with you. I'm definitely going to check in with you, because I want you to be able to feel better, and to because this is a very overwhelming state for you. So um shout out to you. Send it, my heart goes out to you, and we gonna get everything right. Don't even worry about that. But thanks again. So let me get
And I just want to say thank you for everybody. Some people know pieces of it, and actually Prime was there from the beginning, and some days I'm okay. 1 minute I'm all right. I'm laughing, joking. I'm on the phone. I get off the phone. I think of something. It's like I'm reliving the day she died. It's like I'm in the room. I'm cutting her hair out because that's, cutting up pieces of her hair for my siblings because that's what the saves used to do. And that man cursed me out like a dog. My mama body wasn't even cold. He kept everything. And my brother and my sister rolled with him. And he wasn't sick. And I just don't understand how Wells Fargo could give this loan as my mother, as the living person. Yeah, there's been a lot going on. Everything else I can deal with. I don't need to go into that, but this shit with my mother, yeah, this shit is fucking me up. So I'm gonna close. Thank you.
absolutely. And yeah, and don't I know you don't even try to understand. Don't try to make sense out of the BS. Just know it's all gonna work out to the good, and the fact that you do have good days and you are laughing and joking on certain points shows that it's possible to have that joy despite the circumstances. So that's a reference point for you. Let's get back to that. By any means, because you want to have that self compassion for yourself throughout this process. You dealing with a lot, and it's not something you got to handle all at once. It's not a something you have to conquer. at once, and nor is it something that you have to go back and try to reverse. And so releasing the need to change what's already occurred and to refocus on, you know, how you want the future to look and how you want to exist, how you want to honor your mom. What are the objectives? What you know, how do you want to feel and exist in as you move through this process? Because it's not easy. Um, but it can always get better. And so I appreciate you, you know, exemplifying the vulnerability to even come out and bring us into that, into your story a little bit, you know. So, but so let's get FBA goddess in here. Let's see what's on your mind.
Hey, I'm trying myself to understand, the old saying they say that, when things happen, you get stronger. I don't know how to be strong when it comes to losing everybody in my family, except for me. I'm the youngest. And I watched my father die 20 years ago. This year, I only had one sister. She passed in 2022. I just lost my mom and my brother. I feel like I'm alone. I don't know how I'm supposed to be strong. I don't. From day to day, when I wake up, I have anxiety every morning. It's not a day I don't wake up without anxiety. The one person that I had that I can talk to is no longer here. So I don't know how all of that, I'm supposed to be strong. I put on a front day to day. I understand the anger she speak about because I'm very angry because I don't understand. My mother was healthy. She was healthy. Then all of a sudden she just got sick. I don't understand. I don't understand. And I'm angry because there's so many people out there that despise their parents. And I see that. And I'm like, I love my mother. And she's not here. And I don't understand that. So I'm dealing with that to where, day to day, I just feel like sometimes I'm being honest. I feel like I'm only here because of my children. And God bless me with my children so that I can be here because sometimes it does become overwhelming. I'm not to a point where I'm not going to do anything to myself and nothing like that. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying it's just the pain is just, it just gets a lot. It begins to get too much, you know, and I don't know how to live without my mother. Last year, me and my mother had a conversation where I didn't even know why we were talking about past trauma, past hurt, where I was able to sit down and talk to her and talk it out. And I found out why I was raised the way I was and why she, was the way she was towards me, not knowing she was going to pass away. And I was left with that so that I know not to pass that on to my children. So I was able to get that, you know, to where I love on my children in a different way because my mother told me why things were the way they were. And so that way I know how to love my children differently. So that trauma I was able to pinpoint and that generationally it's not going to continue because we were able to squash that before she left this earth. But I just need to know, or I want to be able to live and, breathe and be able to live and just think about things other than, my mother's on my mind constantly. I don't want to ramble. I'm sorry. Thank you.
No, and thank you uh, for bringing this up because that I know that feeling, and I think that number one, you definitely want to lean on all the supports that you have in it, almost in in an over almost like an overabundant way, right? Because the way I look at it is like when you lose a mom, it's something that is the magnitude of it. It's irreplaceable. It's irreplaceable, and so. But however, if we are still here, and like you mentioned, the fact that certain conversations were had in order to help you not pass certain traumas down, that's amazing to hear. That's amazing to hear, to be able to be in a position to break, you
Can
know.
I just tell her this? My mom, I had the last 11 months, 6 weeks before she died. We had that conversation too. And that's why I love all my babies and I do everything different. It's like she knew. Oh, that's just, you really touched me. My mom, I had that conversation too. And that's why I was able to I just wanted to tell her that.
Yeah, and that's another thing as well. That feeling like like they might, like they know, so they say what's on their heart, to that they know will outlast them, and I think that when it comes to maneuvering through this, it's going to take you being unapologetic in your self-care, your being able to lean on people who have offered their support and have shown that they are in support of you. And when it comes to, I think you mentioned having children, it's not, obviously it's not their job to be a comfort to you when it comes to children, but they offer their own joy. They offer their own light that can be very much comforting in times like these. And another thing too is that don't feel as though you have to rush the process, because it is going to be in different waves. And just make sure that you are responding to your own emotions accordingly. If you need you need some time, you need some space to yourself, or you may get triggered by a song or a memory or something like that, and you need your time and space, then you need your time and space. There'll be times where you want to be social. There's going to be times where you want to pull back, times where you want to look at pictures, times where you can't stand to look at a picture, where there's no way you can look at a picture, right? And times where those particular songs may uplift you and take you back in a positive way to some memories that you shared. And then other days it may hit you in the chest, and you gotta sit and allow it to work its way through you, never breaking you, but just the waves working their way through you, because it's an indication of how much she meant. And the three of us, we're grateful to have had our mothers for the time that we did. And we're lucky to have had our mothers be the types of women that they were. We could have had, if you look anywhere, social media, whatever, we see, we know what some of the other type of mothers can look like, right? Every mother isn't created equal when it comes to how they treat their kids, how they sacrifice for their kids, how they show love or don't show love to their children. And, you know, for us to be in a situation where we could say nothing but positive things about, you know, they had their flaws, of course, but we got nothing but positive things to say about the experiences that we had with our mothers, and to be in a position where we realize what we've become and how much of that is can be attributed to the women that they were and what they represented. And that's why in the present we all have the option, I'll say the duty, to keep them alive through us, to dedicate when we get to the space, because you know, if depending on what space you're in, it's going to be times you got to take care of you, but then it's going to be times where you reach that peace and you reach that clearing, and you can say, this is how I make sure she never leaves this earth, because of what she stood for. I'm going to pull from that and transmit that onto my people, whatever form that looks like. Whatever something she said, it was a conversation she had, it was a time that you shared together, right? It was a direction she pointed you in as a kid, right? I remember, speaking of knowing, and this is something, and I'm gonna be honest with y'all tonight, we being real and transparent tonight, right? So when I think my mom may have known too, and I didn't hear this until after she passed, from one of my great aunts. One of my great aunts had told me, you know, that when she was alive, she had this feeling that she wasn't gonna grow old, um, and she didn't know why, whatever. But she just didn't feel like she was gonna be here for that long. And obviously, as a kid, I had no idea. But there was conversations that we had. It was a conversation that we had that I'll never forget. Right, where I was in the car with her. It was just, I have a younger brother, but it was just me and her. And we were, you know, we ran some errand or whatever, and I'm in the passenger seat, and then we pull up in the driveway, and she didn't immediately get out of the car, and then she left the car kind of running, and she was like, you know, I wanted to tell you something, and she was like, you know, I want you to know that, you know, you can be anything that you want to be in this world. You have, you know, so much to give, and I see so much in you, and I want you to, you know, reach for the stars, the sky, you know, the sky's the limit for you. She said the sky, I got that tatted on my arm too. She said the sky's the limit for you. I want you to whatever it is you do, I want you to never stop, because you have something great. And mind you, she was getting emotional at this time, and I've always been connected to my mom's emotions. And so when she starts getting like that, I start getting like that. You know what I'm saying? And so she started tearing up, and I'm tearing up too. But I don't know. Part of me was like, it felt a little scary, because I don't know where it came from. It must have been on her mind that day, or whatever the case is. But she wanted to really, and she's always been positive and supportive. But that day was different. And you know, I'll never forget that conversation. And so, you know, and the last day I saw her was, it was on Thanksgiving day, because it was senior year, was it mom's junior year, junior year of college. So I came down. My grandma was living in Fredericksburg at the time, so I came down for Thanksgiving, and she was already at the house. So I drove down. I went to Hampton, so I drove to go see my parents down there. And I remember she was in the basement. So when I came in, I hadn't seen her in a while. You know how college is. You don't see your peoples in a while. So I came down, and I remember she gave me the biggest hug like ever. And we had a great time, great Thanksgiving, vibing, connecting, talking, all of that, catching up. And then they were gonna head back up to Jersey. So I followed them to the gas station, and they were getting gas. I was getting gas, and I'd already hugged my mom goodbye at the house. I swear to God, something told me go hug her again. It was like it was something ran through my chest and said, go give her another hug when you got the opportunity, right? So we were at opposite pumps, and so I went with the urge. I got out the car, came back, and it was like I gave her another hug, right in the car, and then I went back, and that was the last time I would see her. December break, the Christmas break in December, before I would go home, because I planned to go home, and go see her, but I got the news before I could leave campus, and she was shot and killed. It was a white supremacist, and it was broad daylight. She was going to get movie tickets. He was a fugitive from Florida. He had no business being up there, whatever. He was living in a trailer park across town. He had a rap sheet, crazy rap sheet. Had no business being let out of prison, but for no reason, he just went up in the parking lot. She was getting out of the car to go get movie tickets, and just shot her in the head, and then ran off. And they later found text messages or whatever saying that he had planned to kill a black person today. It was like it was in the text messages, and so the real Miss Lisa, and when we talk, and FBA guys as well, when we talk about these feelings of the feeling of having someone as incredible as your mother to just be taken, it's a different thing when you can identify the person responsible, right? It's a different feeling. A lot of anger can come from that, but that anger will destroy you if you remain focused on that individual, because that's the only path. But it's automatic. You can't help it. Human, right? And for a while, it was hard. It was really hard to move through that. It was like, how do these two equate? She wasn't out in the streets. She wasn't selling drugs. She wasn't engaging in any dangerous behavior. She went to go get movie tickets. It wasn't even nighttime. It was 11 something in the morning. We can't go to the movies now. You see? So it's something that, for a time you're going to feel like, how does this make sense? And then there has to come a time where you put the puzzle down, and you don't try to put it together and make it make sense, because even if it made sense, it wouldn't change the situation. And there was a point where I was working my ass off. I was trying to honor her with every move that I made after that. I wanted to continue to make her proud. I didn't take no breaks. I went straight to grad school. I'm going to handle this, and I'm doing this, and I'm making her proud. I'm making her proud. But I was running a race with a gash in my chest. Picture that. You trying to run a marathon, but you bleeding through your jersey. And so, as a man, it was hard for me to let go of that, because I was like, no, I gotta win for her. I gotta bring all of this back for her, because there's nothing that I wouldn't do for her, right? I got to bring it all back. But it got to a point where I was neglecting myself. So you hear me promote self-care now, is because I wasn't living it. I was running the plane into the ground because I didn't care. I don't matter, right? I was like, nah, it don't matter how I'm feeling. I got to get this done. And I had to reach a pivotal moment where I looked myself in the mirror and said, she wouldn't want me to destroy myself for her. She wouldn't want this. And that's, even though I was in pursuit of healing as many people as possible, as many of our people as possible, there still has to be a balance to it. And I realized that I got to take care of myself through this. Right. And that's what I want for us. We can feel duty driven to a fault. We can feel movement driven to a fault. And we can be overwhelmed and over dedicated and over sacrifice. And I don't want us to feel like that. I don't want us to get into those zones, because it makes everything harder. And it may destroy us. Right. And if we're getting deep, when you lose somebody that meant that much to you, part of you may want to go join them. Part of you may say, hey man, I don't care about nothing, because you almost lose, the mindset is you almost lose the what used to make life extraordinary for you, and what the visions that you used to have that included this person in them are now forever changed. And you might say, well, I don't like the picture that comes with this. I don't want to be in a world that doesn't have this person in it. Right? However, we got to continue to live. We got to continue to grow, because we still here for a reason. And we honor them by taking care of ourselves the way that they took care of us. We can only look back and see their example on how we should treat ourselves is how they treated us. If you're crying about your mom passing several years later, that means that she meant that much, and that means that she was taking care of you. Probably put herself aside millions of times to take care of you. Why would she show you that example if she didn't want you to carry on that legacy of taking care of yourself? We can't defy that example that they presented in pursuit of making things right for her. What I'm going to say is that in pursuit of honoring those that are this meaningful, right? We never want to neglect ourselves in the process, because they would have never wanted us to do so. And I'm telling you that because that was a pivotal point for me. I had to, you ever had those moments where you kind of look yourself in the mirror and you say, well, nah, I'm going about this wrong. I'm moving in extremes. And that's the thing about trauma. The one thing that I found about trauma is that two things increase after you're traumatized, and that's fear and imbalance. Imbalance meaning extremes. You find yourself in one extreme or the other. you all the way over here or you all the way over there, and you kind of live in this extreme with an extreme mentality. And so it's like it's black, just this black or white thinking. Like you know, I have to make this right to even to my own detriment. I have to make this right, and um, that leads us into just further trauma, because a lot of times we end up causing trauma to ourselves. We end up immersing in more and more trauma because of the extreme thinking, or the need to fix and make it right. This is human nature. It's a human desire. When you lose someone that's irreplaceable, you try to fill the void and correct, or you try to correct it because you can't bring them back. So it's okay, well, how do I make it right? Right? How do I make it, in one way or another? And it's always good, to honor those who have passed on, and to bring their legacy into the present and beyond. Is something that we should all, you know, at some point be able to do. The same way we're doing now, just as a people, honoring, our ancestors and everything like that. But when it comes down to taking care of ourselves, it's something that I won't allow us to leave out of the process. Because it's absolutely necessary, and a lot of times for many of us, it's probably the hardest part. For a lot of us, to be honest, it's really the hardest part for us to do sometimes, is to look out for ourselves, or to make space for us. Sometimes we don't even allow ourselves to have certain emotions. Sometimes we try to bottle up whatever emotional state we in. If we don't feel like we should be doing that right now, we try to bottle strap that up, tie that up, duct tape it down, right? And it's like, why are we doing that? You know what I'm saying? We won't be able to escape the trauma response at its most vicious if we won't condition our brains to be in expectation of self-care on a consistent basis, right? I'll give you an example. So this is a physical health example, right? If you eat a bunch of high sodium foods like fish, etc., but you don't drink enough water to offset the sodium, your body holds water. So you'll have a swollen face, swollen neck. Your body will have, you call it water weight. Your body will hold on to water because it doesn't expect you to provide water. So it feels like it's in survival mode, starvation mode. So okay, well, in order to keep the sodium from causing too much damage, we're going to hold on to any ounce of water we can pull from anything that this person eats. And in most cases, you look funny, right? You're holding on to all this water weight. It's unnecessary. But the second you start to provide yourself with efficient water to counteract the amount of sodium that you have in your body will naturally release the fat that it's storing, and the water that it's storing inside of the fat cells inside of your body. It'll start to release that, and you'll slim down, because you are conditioning yourself and your body to expect high volumes of water to offset the sodium. So it's about balancing the levels. And so when it comes to trauma, if you continuously stay in it, live in it, talk about it, focus on it, then your brain is not incentivized to be at peace, because you haven't given it any time to experience any sort of peace, a break, time to balance yourself, time to meditate, to open the thoughts, and time to release. And there's no time to release anything. You always on go, you always handling business, you always giving to this person or that person. So you're constantly in a space where you're always active in output, and you're always or you're keeping the momentum going with traumatizing images or people or circumstances. And so injecting some peace on a consistent basis, however you need to set that up, is imperative. And it will start to condition you to not go to certain zones. So that doesn't mean you're gonna forget your loved ones. It doesn't mean any of that. It's about achieving peace and balance and being in our best form and in our best space. So with that being said, I appreciate all of you guys coming out as always. Make sure you guys get the app, the Above Trauma app. I got the link up in the Jumbotron. Make sure you guys get it, either Google Play or App Store. It's definitely a really great supplement to your healing journey. And it's something that is definitely going to improve your moods, improve your consistency, improve your thought processes, provide you with strategies for any and everything that you may be going through. I'm going to be adding new content every week. Just like Netflix, I'm going to be putting stuff up every week. Keeping, and in addition to that, whenever I do webinars, y'all might see me post webinars and things like that. If you're a member on the app, you get every webinar for free. So you're going to see a section in there that says webinars and workshops. You can watch the old ones if you miss them live, and you'll be able to get the link through the app for the ones that are upcoming. I'm doing one the end of January. I'm going to do one monthly, just going forward. So as a member on the app, you be able to get those 100%. And I'm going to be doing pop-up workshops on different topics. And so for anybody that's a member, I'm just going to be asking, let me know what topics you want me to do workshops on, and I'll pop up and do them, Q&As, all that type of stuff, group coaching, you name it. Because I'm when it comes to people who are serious about healing, serious about growth, serious about just achieving peace for yourself, and serious about breaking transgenerational curses, and all of the pain, suffering, all these different traumatic patterns that we may have picked up along the way in life. It's not something that you have to carry by yourself anymore. And you have the support that you need. And it's definitely something that you could pop in and check in on anytime, any day of the week, so how to get yourself out of those tough spots, and how to keep yourself in that upper quadrant of just feeling at peace, just doing well, feeling the best that you can possibly feel. And that's what it's designed for. It's designed for us. And I'm gonna be honest, there's not a lot of stuff designed for us, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's not a lot of things that are designed with us in mind. And like I mentioned before, just even in the realm of psychology, the writers of the DSM, the psychologists, philosophers who, on American soil in the 1890s, 1880s, and forward, did not have us in mind. And if they did, it was not in a positive way, so I'm definitely proud to be a Black American who wants us to heal and is dedicated to us healing and being at our best. you know, as much as we possibly can, and to make it easy for these strategies to weave into your daily life, because life is crazy enough, life is hard enough. I don't want to throw jargon at you. I want to give you the step by step. This is how you get through this. This is how you maneuver through that. This is how you feel better. Print this out, try this, write this, do it a little bit each day until you gain control of it. You know, I want healing to be second nature. I want healing to be automatic, not something that you necessarily got to think about and strategize about. And that's what all of the content is designed around. Both my ebooks are in there. I got a kids cartoon I made, and I got all kind of stuff in there. Abandonment trauma, dating after trauma, all of that, grief, loss, everything you need. You know, so enjoy the app, people. And you know, I'll be probably reaching out to some of you in the back channel too, just to kind of help give you some support as well. So feel free to message me if you need me for anything. And I'll see y'all next Tuesday.
Thank you. You don't even know. I'm gonna make it off this app and go to sleep, man. You just took a lot off of me because it's been rough. It's been rough, but I've been managing, but I haven't been managing as well as better than I have. So thank you, and God bless you, and Happy New Year, and thank everybody in the room who, just took the time out for him to speak to us. I really appreciate it. And I'm out. Good night, y'all.
Good night. Good night. Thanks for coming. And I'll be checking in on you tomorrow as well. Y'all be good.